B2. One day I'll come back, and I'll get that skill point yet. I'm not gonna do it right now, though. I could just imagine it will stress me out to no end if I try it now. It's tempting, but Brawler skill point might be one exception I'll make to my whole side challenge video thing. So I might come back later to get that skill point. I know there's something that we can get that will provide to be quite a handy tool that can help with that skill point a little easier, regardless of how much stronger we get before the next time we return to the Mactor Resort. But I won't lose any sleep on getting this skill point at a later time. It's the challenges itself in this resort that I want to save for the post-game. Greetings all, it's Blue Knight, and welcome back to Ratchet Clank, going Commando. Previously, we found the Mactor Arena and won a new gadget, the Electrolyzer, at the Gladiator Games. And then we did a couple more challenges as well to take on Chainblade and the B2 Brawler respectively. Today, we're now on Adako. Thanks for the reminder about the map game. We're now on Adako to save our buddy Clank. He's now being held prisoner by the thief, and we're not gonna let that stand, no way. Besides, I feel like Ratchet's been naked without Clank long enough. You really feel the lack of mobility without Clank when you're playing as Ratchet for a little bit. Like, the fact that you cannot use any jumping whatsoever, it kinda hinders you a bit. Like the long jump, the high jump, and the hover. You tend to miss out on those a little bit when you're going along with Ratchet for a bit. Anyways, we're gonna go through the right first. That's not gonna be the way to get the Clank, but I still want to go down this way because there is something worthwhile we can acquire at the end of this path. And we're taking on some new enemies. Those are the Mega Sweeper bots. To make them appear, we gotta spill some trash, we gotta litter, gotta upset the established order, put the middle finger in society's face, and throw the trash on the ground. And we also saw for a moment before I blew it up was the Megacorp laser bot. They're essentially just working to keep the city clean, and I guess take on any pesky intruders that say otherwise. I don't care. I got a shotgun. I ain't afraid to use it. Look at that. I can take on those sweeper bots no problem, as well as dismantle the laser bots too. Fun times all around. We'll proceed ahead here. And look who we managed to find! That's the Look for Less leader. We saw him once before in that video call when the thief was hiring the mercenaries to work on his behalf. But if you go down this balcony, I think... Yep, there it is, Platinum Bolt. Another one you can easily miss out on, and it's one that I actually did discover on my own by pure accident eventually. Because I didn't know there was a balcony at the end of this pathway. So we're gonna keep making our way down to find that Buckfullet's leader. I wonder if... I don't think we can see it. On some of the litter, you could see that there's a specific face that you can find on the trash garbage stuff. It's the face of Dan Johnson, a beloved employee who used to work at Insomniac but sadly passed away in the mid-2000s. As an inside joke among the developers, they put his face... Get out of here, Duckflip Leader. I'm trying to be a little, empathetic here. As a tribute to Dan Johnson, they included his face as a small reference, as well as an inside joke among themselves, to pay their friend's memory in like their only way on how to handle such a tribute. Because Insomniac, they're a unique batch of fellows when it comes to the humor, let's say that. I mean, it's pretty evidenced in this game and this game's series when it comes to the Ratchet Clank's writing. It can get pretty raunchy at times, which is very welcoming if you ask me. They know how to keep both the action, some types of drama, and the humor balanced pretty well, at least in my opinion.
Greetings, morons. Since my employees did such a lousy job of taking care of yous, I thought I'd come and handle things myself. If you want someone killed right, you gotta do it yourself.
Well, no more hiding. This guy's not gonna turn around and try to give us the butt kicking that he thinks we probably deserve. Probably because we're getting in the way of his pay. That's gotta be why. I'm sure there's nothing personal. We're just two businessmen that are having a bit of a spirited debate, let's say. So this guy, the Duckflip Leader, he's got a various amount of attacks that we have to dodge. He's got missiles, he's got gunfire, as he's kind of a chopper off to do. But he also got those electric balls that he'll shoot out to try and hurt us, like right now. They're very easy to dodge. Ammo, I thought would come back. Yep, there it is. I was gonna say, ammo does respawn pretty regularly, and he's not too tough despite being an armored chopper. I mean, look at this. I'm taking him down with nothing but the blitz gun, baby.
Back up. I need back up.
And I think he's dead. There's no bottomless pit down there. There's nothing but, I think, lights? What are those anyways? It's gotta be some sort of debris down there, probably. Or maybe just fancy decoration. Oh, either way, that guy had a really rough landing. But with him out of the picture, look at what we got.
Hey, my old swing shot and grind boots.
Our old swing shot and grind boots, coming back from the first game. But that's not all we could find. Obviously, we see that there's a very strong Easter egg staring us right in the face. This Jack and Daxter image on screen. It's a picture from Jack 2, from what I was able to gather. This was during the time when, like I mentioned before, Insomniac Games and Naughty Dog were pretty tight since they worked in the same building for a time, and would often put references on each other's best PS2 characters in their games. We can also access this little device, believe it or not. That's the game pyramid. To activate it, we can use the dynamo, and it turns out it's a dynamo activator. And by doing that, we're able to play a unique game called... Oh, there I am at the top. I'll look at the guy at the bottom. A unique little mini game called, I believe, Space-ish Wars. It's basically their version of, I want to say, what's that one game called? It's blanking my memory right now. I should know what this game is called, considering I worked in the arcade, or in an arcade for a while that actually had this game. Space Invaders. I believe it's Space Invaders. Just like a a sideways version, a vertical version of that game. Can't believe I blanked out on that. And it's multiplayer too. That other shooter at the bottom isn't moving. Well, you can play this along with a friend. Though it's just kind of boring, but it's a neat little distraction that you can give yourself if you're want to play something Ratchet and Clank related, but you want to have a friend along for the ride. Otherwise, Ratchet and Clank is mostly a not first person, a single player only game. But they would include multiplayer at some point down the line of the series. But at its core, the Ratchet games are mainly single player. You can't exit out of that by just hitting start. Not only that, not only can you access the game pyramid, you can file destroy too! Destroy Ratchet's expensive game console for just a few bulls. I'm pretty sure he won't be happy about that, even though I made him do it. I'm pretty sure he had it coming. Somewhat. Normally you have to beat the game first to play that little minigame. It's not Space-ish Wars, it's called Sheep Blasters. Space-ish Wars is something else that we'll get to later on. It's another little multiplayer game of sorts that's not really that important, but we'll get to it when we get to it. Normally, you have to beat the game first to play Sheep Blasters, but this was an early way that you could try it, and a secret way too. And now we're gonna learn more about the swing shot. Whoops, I did not mean to do that. But if you play the first game, it's very old hat to you. Just hold down circle when you reverse a target like that, and you can swing shot to it. You can also aim in first person mode for precision aiming, or more precision aiming. But you can be near a target like that, and just use the swing shot outright. Not only that, we'll be taken to... No, back here. There's a grind rail segment that we can go on in the area we were just at. So I'm gonna make my way back to that spot so we can use our new grind boots. And while on the way there, I'll explain a little interesting tidbit about the game pyramid we just destroyed. Not only was it used as a dynamo activator, but it has some interesting history behind it. The game pyramid was originally planned to be a PS2, but something during the development process prevented the developers from putting a PS2 in their game, since this specific thing could not allow the devs to put in something Sony related, in this case the PS2 console, that can be destroyed in their game. They tried using an Xbox instead, but that was also taken out because it was not allowed, or at least they were not allowed to have another competitor's console in the game either. What prevented them from doing this is known as the TRC, which stands for Technical Requirements Checklist. It's a list of tests that a game must pass through before the platform license holder can allow that game to be released on their system. Turns out it's a vital part at the end of a game's development cycle, which was very interesting to learn about. I didn't think they would go through that many hoops just to include what was gonna be probably a innocent yet likely offensive gesture if they were allowed to proceed with either idea at first. Like, if they put the PS2 that could be destroyed, they might piss off Sony and damage their relationship. And if they put in something from another competitors, then they still might piss off Sony because they don't want any presence of a rival in their product at all.
Put it in a slot. the weapon you want modified. Put it in the slot.
Oh, I get it. You make weapon modifications.
Yep, I can take your puny little weapon, and with a few, tweaks, I can turn it into a powerful piece of equipment. Look, you want me to hook you up or what? I can't hang around here all day.
Not to mention that Insomniac Games is a third-party development, so that probably could have damaged any future relations they would have had with Microsoft if the chance came up. And remember, Insomniac are the same guys that made Sunset Overdrive, which did appear on an Xbox console eventually. So, just something to keep in mind about their whole game pyramid idea. Could have damaged them in the long run, but thankfully didn't. Anyways, we met Slim Cognito. He's, I believe, a character we saw back in the first game. I could be wrong on that, but I'm pretty sure we met him before. If not, this is his debut appearance. And this is where the use of the Platinum Bolts come into play. We can, for a certain amount of Platinum Bolts, attach a specific mod to a specific weapon. This can range from a shock mod, which can damage enemies over time. No, wait, that's the acid mod I'm thinking of. The acid mod can cause damage over time and can make other enemies be infected through physical contact with one of their allies. The shock mod can electrocute enemies, which is, believe it or not, good for crowds too. But the one that I'm the most interested in is the lock-on mod. You can hold L2 and R2 to target a specific foe, and see their health too. These mods are fixed to specific weapons, and they cannot be chosen for which weapon can have which mod. So once you pick a mod for something, you're stuck with it. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. From what I've seen, most of the weapons in this game will either have the lock-on or the acid mod, while a few of them will have shock as well. So I'll go with the blitz gun. I don't know why this is... No, there's an acid mod for this. What am I thinking? We'll go for that too. We'll just get one of everything, just to show the variety in all of these mods. Even though I'm probably not going to use the Lancer that much more as you progress through the game, since I already upgraded it, I want to focus on not only giving other weapons a fair bit of screen time, but also help them get upgraded too. Thanks, game. I know how to steer the camera. You don't have to tell me. Trust me, I already know. You can tell me once, and I'll be stuck in my memory. I might forget, but trust me, I've played this game before. Plenty of times, actually. I won't forget. I won't. Anyways, let's use the electrolyzer here. And start our adventure to save our friend. I think he's been short-circuited long enough. A little tidbit about the electrolyzer. You could hold it at first as a gadget, similar to the tractor beam, but they opted to make it be used for remote locations afterwards, probably out of pure convenience, which I think was a smart decision. Not only could you, as the game explains how to use the lock-on, like so, you can see the health displayed at the bottom too. Very handy. Like I said, probably the most handy mod out of the 3 that we can find. There's another electrolyzer spot. Let's get these crates first before we use it. As I was saying, it was much more convenient for them to use the electrolyzer in remote locations, since there really is no point having it out as a gadget like the tractor beam. it kind of operates like the Trespasser for the last game in that sense where you can hold out the electrolyzer, but they changed it later on, which I heavily approve of because it helps streamline the gameplay a little better and keeps the pacing up for something as actiony and and constant in its flow like this game is. So we can move this forward with this crane cam. It's actually kind of a shame that I already used the Blitzgun to take out these enemies because there is a skill point where you can take out those enemies by using the crane, but I kind of neglected to do that, so whoops. We can do it on a repeat run anyways, or I can just die and restart that. Eh, why not? I'll do it. I already died once, my perfect record was ruined by myself in the second episode, so there's nothing stopping me from trying to achieve this. Besides, enemies will just respawn after you come back anyways. So I have to be a lot more observant when it comes to using the cranes. Because I want to get that skill point. How to do it here. There you are. Just use this. And you can drop it as soon as you pick it up too. So it's not like you have to wait in order to drop this object. It's very convenient because these small guys will move around pretty quickly once they're aware of what you're doing. Not that fast, but it's fairly fast. But you see that one sweeper ball that just blew up from me lifting up the crate though? That was a little humorous, I gotta say. Good, the bolts stay around. The bolts do stay around the ground after a little bit. A lot longer than you think, actually. So they're very generous with having you get the chance of picking up any stray cash if you don't get them, like, immediately. Chain this guy down. And this enemy that I killed once before I made Ratchet jump off the ledge, and, well, speaking of which, there went him! He went off the ledge too! Like, enemy, I think. That is known as, Megacorp River Bot, because it will shoot in a river-like pattern once it notices you. I think there's one more of those guys around, so we will get a chance to see what their attack is like. Yeah, it's right there, actually. Hi, I'm interjecting here for a moment to let you know about a correction I have to make. As it turns out, the name of this particular enemy I was 100% wrong about. It's actually called the Megacorp Rivet Bot, not River Bot as I mistakenly said. I don't know why. For the longest time, I thought it was called the River Bot, but I guess my brain auto-corrected the T to an R. So I've been saying this guy's name wrong for a really long time, as a matter of fact. It wasn't until I saw this enemy's name on the Ratchet Clank Wikipedia page that I found out that I was incorrect. It was even labeled in the game, as I already mentioned, and somehow I still got it wrong. At least I'm getting around to this now, instead of having an embarrassing case where I've been calling a planet by the wrong name, like I did with Ultanus, where I was calling it Olantis, for even longer than I did with the Rivet Bot. What I'm getting at is that the Mandela effect is not a fun time if it messes with your brain. I shouldn't do that. It could attack the River Bot. Like so. Alright, never mind. Switch to the shotgun. I'd rather just go to the chopper. That has a lot more ammo to it. But like all of one, but still. It's a lot more powerful. And it's constant too. Let's do that. In a space like this, a chopper can be really helpful. Especially if you dispense multiples of those, since you can just ricochet off the walls and chip on enemies over and over again. Now another piece of this electrolyzer action up in here. I've got a little worse at doing these puzzles over the years, admittedly. Despite I've played this game numerous times, still, I've somehow managed to fail in recent runs of playing this game with the electrolyzer more than I have when I was a kid, which is really, really not something I want to admit, but it's the truth. You can also use this laser bot to use its laser against its robotic comrades, which is kind of funny. Oh, I got the skill point, nice. It's kind of funny and also handy too. What I do here, there's this crate. This one's different. It'll explode after a while once you make it drop, like so. I got those super bots too, nice. But the crate that we have to use, I think it's back here. Oh no, wait, we need the explosive crate to blow up that door, right. Almost forgot about that door for a moment. Come on, go through. A tip about Slim Cognito, he has some vendor lines that actually went unused. Might be due to the raunchy nature of this franchise, but some of them, when I listened to them, sounded quite suggestive. Especially, there was more than one where I'm confident he's told you to put it in the slot. Considering how this game can be pretty crass with humor at times, I'm pretty sure that was intentional. Maybe a little too on the nose, which is why it went unused in the end. Kind of a bummer, because it does fit into Slim's personality in my opinion, but I can understand why that they opted not to use it in the end. It can be found on the cutting room floor though, all these unused lines that Slim had at one point. Also, wait, no, it's supposed to go the other way. Why do I think this is going to be an explosive crate? Also, early builds of the game showed that you had to use regular bolts to pay for the weapon mods, not the platinum ones. Slowly move this around. I also didn't notice this design for the bolts themselves, but in Ratchet 1, they had the gold bolts be the big ones, while the normal ones were colored like regular silver bolts. And this game, for some reason, they switched the colors around. By the way, there's this thing here. We cannot open this door yet, so I'll have to keep this in mind for later. Which means we got backtracking in our future. Alright. I get why that didn't blow up before. I thought that would already. We have to use the solid crate to stack the explosive crate on, and then make that blow up. That always tripped me up. I actually didn't know how to figure this out when I was a kid. For some reason. I don't know why it escaped me, but it did. And I feel really dumb now because now I know the solution. And I really should have pieced it together a long time ago. There we go. That's what we're supposed to do. What am I doing? I need to use this again in order to get our butts to Clank. Because we're not gonna be able to jump without this thing. It's impossible for Ratchet to do on its own. But yeah, they switched the colors for the bolts around in this game. I guess to make the smaller ones look more noticeable. Which, if that's the case, I kinda understand. And then they made the big ones look more regular in terms of color. I don't know, it just seemed kinda weird now that I really think about it, but it's also understandable as to why they made that change. That or it's probably just to fit in with the different vibe that Bogon has. Oh, sweet! great that we got this upgraded. It was probably to make the Bogon universe, not universe, the Bogon galaxy act more different in its currency. Maybe that's it, to give it more of that capitalistic feel, because this game does have a heavy theme on capitalism from what I researched on, which I didn't notice at all. Playing through this game so many times growing up. So maybe that's it. Anyways, the mini nuke. It has a bigger splash of its explosives now, and they're also stronger too. Also gives off a small mushroom cloud whenever you do use one. Still have the same ammo though, which sucks, but can't be helped.
Clank? Okay, Clank, don't move. I'm coming down. Whoa! Ugh, son of a quark! All right, buddy. Let's get you up and running again.
And with one last electrolyzer segment, we'll be able to save our buddy and bring it back to life. Yeah, now that I think about it, the thief kinda killed Clank after he short-circuited him because he hasn't moved at all.
Final digit of pi is...
Clank? Clank, can you hear me?
Ratchet? Where are we? I must have dozed off.
Don't sweat it. Let's just find a way out of here.
I believe that air duct may offer our only way out.
And now we get to play as Clank for once. Now that he's up and about once again, which is really nice. We got to do this back in the first game too. But I guess it was like so much that they decided to bring it back, which is a good way to break things up for a little while. So now that we get to play as our smaller hero, I think I'm gonna stop for now. This went on a little longer than I thought, and I know we still have a bit of a ways to go on this in this level. Especially now that we're playing as Clank. We're got to learn about how his style of gameplay goes. So next time, we're gonna see how Clank operates as this rescue mission turns into a breakout mission. Now that we have to set Ratchet free from Clank's old prison room. Until we meet again, farewell for now.